Hey guys, welcome to another news breakdown here on Soda Pop. Alright, as always, I'm your host, Frozen Stratos, and today's the day. It's the big day. We finally got everything coming out of the Kamen Rider Candy Toy news blog about Saber. Now, there are a lot of things, a lot of brand new changes that the blog wanted to point out, and they only got into 14 of them here. There are like 21 total main points to hit, but only 14, they were only able to get to like 14 of them here. So yeah, let's just dive right in. Actually, a little bit of trivia. Some of this information was leaked due to a pamphlet that went out like from a store or something. These images and this information came from @LeafAD on Twitter, and I was using the translate tweet feature, so that's as far as I can tell. So yeah, it doesn't truly matter. It's just a neat piece of trivia that it was preempted one day before its reveal. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that real quick because we actually still have tons and tons of information that comes out of the blog, specifically the mentality behind what these changes are. And there are a lot. So they did mention that they stepped up their game in 01, but they decided, no, we're going to go even further from 01, and I don't know, let's just get into it. The first major thing that they wanted to point out was that this set actually comes out next month on the 21st. That's right, September 21st is going to be the release date of this, and for reference, the show, I believe, that comes out on the 6th of that month. So that's some really quick turnaround time. That's like under 2 weeks, I believe. Let me do some really quick math. Maybe a little over 2 weeks? I'm not sure. I didn't do the math on that, and it's pretty simple math, and I don't know why I didn't. But, yeah, this is the fastest turnaround time we've ever had on a Soto release. So, just going off of the hype of the show finally being here, you're going to be getting toys very, very soon. And I'm super looking forward to that. I'm very excited for this. So yeah, that's really cool. That's, one of the major things. The next major thing that they wanted to hit was the neck articulation. Take a look at that, I guess, nod. I don't know that it's really nodding. It's got a lot of range of motion. We'll see it here. Yeah, there's tons of articulation in the head. And if you'll remember, with Soto Kuga, he actually had a pivot joint at the top of the neck, just so he can, like, make that, I guess, range of motion possible, but something different is happening here. So we still have the standard ball joint in the top of the head instead of that pin that they had in Kuga, except the difference is that they carved away at the inside of the neck, or at least they have a lot less matter there, so that you do have extra clearance for that range of motion. Now, you're going to hear me say this a lot over the course of this episode, but this joint, this area, went through a lot of strength tests. They're thinning out the plastic there, so they need to make sure that this is still safe for kids, and it passed. Miraculously, it passed. So we're going to be getting this and the extra range of motion, and on top of that, we're going to be getting it for less parts. Like, it's relatively the same amount of articulation for less parts, and that works well because Soto Chronicle, where Kuga comes from, that figure is 50 yen more for each box, so around 100 yen more each figure, and adding parts to these figures adds to the part cost, so that we can get this, like, we get the same range of motion for less money. So I love that. Next up, we are going to be talking about some shoulders, some shoulder articulation, some butterfly joints perhaps. So yeah, we have some brand new range of motion in the chest, and this is another situation where we're not getting any sort of extra, I guess, inner joints or anything. It's really just them thinking on the fly and figuring out how to innovate these without adding to the parts cost. So basically what happens is that with Soto 01, they figured if we made that peg too long, then that peg will end up snapping. but they went through, like I said, a bunch of strength tests, and they were able to make the peg longer. What that does is that once you insert it into the body, there's this brand new channel, a bit more ovular than before, instead of like the standard circle, and you can just sort of push it around within the chest just to get like that faux range of motion. So you, like I said, you are getting more articulation for the same sort of parts cost, the same price. And hey, let's just take a moment to like recognize that these chests are much more slim than they were in 01. This thing is going to look lean, and I'm all the way here for it. Next up, let's take a look at this. They got rid of the little knobs on the back of the legs and the back of the head. And that, like, this is fully clean. There is no extra cleanup you have to do. There is no strange, like, child safety knobs on the back of the head, like on the back of your figure. It is what you see. Like, this is what we're getting. And there's no sort of breaking up of the sculpt for that. So basically, oh yeah, and there's also no hole in the top of the head. So they basically did say that if a kid swallows it, they want there to be a hole so that there's still airflow for the kid to breathe. I don't know how effective that is, but it is part of the toy safety standards in Japan. The thing about Saber, though, is that he has such a big forehead sword thing that they were able to like get rid of the knob and just sort of like shift that to the head spike. And that's how they're able to sort of get away with it. Like, it's big enough to where I don't think a kid is able to swallow it, I guess is the mentality behind that. So yeah, there's no hole in the head. There's no peg in the back of the head. So we're getting like a clean figure. Next up, let's talk about some hips. Because this dude has some range of motion. Just, you know, by way of how 01's hips worked. You had to put this layer of armor on top of the thighs, and it sort of got in the way of the splits. But here we've gotten a deeper split than we've ever had before, so that's really cool. I'm very excited about that. And on top of that, that's all without adding an extra drop down crotch joint like they did with Kuga. So once again, we're getting all the extras except at the same price with the same amount of parts. I love it. It's innovative. Next up, this is a small one. Something that they learned from 01 is, I guess, basically just trial and error just to make sure the shoulder sits flush with the chest. This is really nice. I appreciate that they were able to just, you know, use that from 01. So yeah, that's cool. Next up, we have ball-jointed wrists. Now, I'm pretty sure everyone was expecting this ever since Gaim did it, or ever since Yudo did it, which was something that they pioneered in Yudo and just has propagated to all the rest of the candy toys in, you know, this sort of space. I guess not really Shodo, but in this space, they've really innovated that. So, yeah, we've got ball-jointed hands, and you'd be able to get a little bit of extra range of motion just because, you know, it's a swordsman. This image was done for demonstration purposes only. The peg isn't going to sit out as far like that. You could push it in. So, yeah, once again, demonstration purposes. That's why it looks a little janky around the hand. Next up, let's take a look at... Oh, wait. Do you not see it? Do you not understand what we're looking at there? Looking at here, it is the sort of smooth pattern on the elbows and the knees. So something that happened in Gaim, in Soto Gaim, was that they put the patterning over the joint so that it makes it look a bit more flush to the sculpt, so that you don't actually see the articulation going on there, or at least the effect is lessened of the articulation. So we have a more smooth sculpt. And then next up, we have the extra thigh stuff going in and like covering more of the joint there at the knee. And once again, this is something that happened in Gaim, and they did actually note that, like, hey, we're only doing this in Gaim because this is not made for kids, or this is aimed at a higher age range. So that that meant they could make like thinner plastic work in that thigh area. But they found out after a bunch of strength testing, they were able to make it happen in the standard retail release. So we are getting that sort of smooth transition in the knee. I'm really excited about that. It's like, I don't know, man, we are getting just high quality Figuarts level stuff in Candy Toy, and I can't believe it. Next up, let's take a look at a little bit of a comparison between the two, just like side by side. And like I said, this guy is a lot more lean, and those joints just sort of blend away, specifically around the knees, and I'm here for it. I love this. I'm so excited for Saber. But yeah, also for the elbows, we have a slight bit of range of motion improvement. Like, we got a little bit more elbow action, but I don't know, it's not too much, but I appreciate that they're still able to like carve away at that little area without sort of disrupting the sculpt. I love it. Next up, let's take a look at this sword, because big sword big. And yeah, like, people have been complaining that 01 sword was kind of small, and I get it. It's like, you know, just in comparison to the show, it was kind of small, but like, there is a lot of matter that's gonna have to take up. Either way though, Saber, he's going to have a very proportional sword, and this looks very nice. But if you really just sort of take 01's sword and then like from tip to bottom, compare it to Saber's, it is kind of the same when you compare it to like that little hilt piece to the top of the Saber. Really, it's just like shifting the holding peg of 01's down to the very bottom, and then you have that length. So I think it's like the same amount of plastic. Like, you're getting the same amount of plastic, it's just peg placement. The only reason why 01's was smaller was because it's placed so far up. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. There's also no meat removal, so we get a full-on sculpt for the sword. It's gonna look great on the front and the back, except, you know, no paint or any stickers back here. That's fine. I'm still loving this. Next up, let's take a look at this. Paint. Talking about paint, there's just a lot of paint on this guy, and they mentioned that, hey, 01, for his first figure, didn't have too much paint, so they were able to like fill in the gaps pretty easily. Here, with Saber, there's actually quite a lot. So that entire red stripe done up in paint, like, it's filled out all the way for you. It's not going to be a frustrating sticker, except for on the top of hand. For just the rest of the body, you have all the silver right there on the side of the chest and on the cape done. The gray, the white, everything, all that's done for you. Let's take a look at the sticker sheet, and really, it's just going to be on the hands, the swords. I guess I don't know where those whites are going. I think on the side of, yeah, I don't know where those little white pieces are going. I didn't really take too hard of a look at these, but yeah. Oh, also, we're gonna be getting stickers on the belt itself, which is something that we don't typically get unless it's like Kai Soda or something. Also, the eyes are going to be done up in stickers. So the mentality behind the eyes being done in stickers is just because, you know, they weren't able to do a gradient. Like, a gradient isn't too feasible, especially at this price point. And with the added benefit of a sticker, they could get that little compound eye look in there without having any difficulty. Like, even Soto-01's eyes look a little bland just because they are just painted over, but here we get the extra look of texture and the full detail there. So I think I'm fine with that. I really like it, and it'll probably look a lot better in person. Let's take a look at this next image, where we actually have some really nice, I guess, HD looking pictures of these breakdowns. We don't typically get HD looking pictures. They're usually garbage, tiny ones that we get in the blog. But yeah, we get to see everything in its glory. And hey, Blades is here. I forgot to mention that at the top, but they showed off Blades a little bit. They didn't go too far into him, just, you know, hey, he's here. you'll be able to buy him and he'll be in the first set. Like, I'm pretty sure everyone thought that that was the case. Also, for anyone wondering, I know there was a lot of chatter about this in the Discord, which you should join, by the way, that they didn't know what Blades' name was, if it was Blades or Blaze. But if you look at the stand itself here, it does say Kamen Rider Blades. So it's Blade, but plural now. He's multiple Blades. Yeah, so that's neat. Next up, so basically how these break down, just like from what you're seeing here, you are able to do some really neat form swappings, and I'm very excited for this. What I really want to try to do is make a sort of blank form of what these would sort of look like if they were just blanked out. I think that would be really neat. But yeah, this looks really cool. The sort of gimmick aspect is still going to be alive in Shodo, even if it's not alive in the mainline stuff, because as far as I can tell, RKF doesn't seem to be doing that unless they do a separate set like they did with 01. So this seems to be the place for gimmicks to happen. So yeah, this figure looks cool. I'm so excited to make a whole bunch of combinations with these. And yeah, next up, one of the final few things, like the last thing that they mentioned before this one, was that the price point is going to remain the same. I think I've said that throughout this episode, but the price point is not changing. Even though costs are rising for them, they are making sure that this is still something that a kid with their pocket money can go out and buy, and I think that's really special. I absolutely love that. I mean, this is a line for kids. These are toys for kids, and like, the fact that they're able to skirt the line of something fun for kids and something fun for adults is mesmerizing to me. I can't believe that they're able to like service both parts of that community. I love that. The very, very last thing though, this doesn't quite pertain to us. This is more about, hey, there's a campaign. If you use the hashtag something Shodo Saber something, you'll be entered in a chance to win these early or purchase these. I didn't look too far into it because none of us are going to be able to enter. I mean, you can. I have the link to the blog down in the description if you want to figure that out yourself. But yeah, that's that. They did leave us with a pretty big preview though. So they said there are 5 things that the next blog is going to touch on. The first of which is finishing out Saber, because, you know, that's obvious. Then they're going to get into Blades next week. And then Shodo Chronicle 11... God, I'm mixing everything up. shodo-x 11 is going to be out, or not out, God. Shodo Chronicle 11 is going to be shown off next week. This is not an image of Shodo Chronicle 11, this is the figure art, but if you've checked out our other video, which you definitely should, you already know what's sort of gonna be in shodo-x 11. It got leaked on Figzoku early on I don't know if it was on purpose or accident, but that information's already out there. We just don't have images yet. And then there was a question mark portion. I don't know what that's about. I'm very excited. I have question marks about it. And then lastly, we're going to do a little bit of a follow-up on the silhouette that we were given for Shodo Chronicle Kuga. This is the villain, like the very final boss for Kuga. So we're going to get follow-up to that, like finally. I guess it hasn't been too long, but I am excited to see what it's all about. And see if we actually get like a villain chronicle series or something. I'm so excited. Anyways, that was all the big stuff that came out of the Shodo blog. Tell me in the description what you're most looking forward to with Shodo Saber, like what new innovations that you're looking forward to, or hey, what other predictions you have for this line. Obviously, this is Shodo, and it's definitely going to be wrong, but it is still fun to speculate. And if you are having fun speculating, we do still have a link in the description to our Discord to where you can hang out and chat with us and like tons of other Shodo fans. We're just talking about Candy Toy. It's the Candy Toy Corner. And it's a good time. So yeah, definitely hit that if you're interested. Also, there are still links in there to how you can help support the Black Lives Matter movement by donating money, signing petitions, whatever you do, as long as you do it. It absolutely helps. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Keep it Hell yeah.